All right. Welcome everybody to the latest kind of installment here of my weekly readings. This is going to be for the week of September 5th to September 12th. Although when I go into the latter portion, when we look at hidden opportunities, that's really for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So you get kind of a combination with these weekly readings. We're going to start checking in on all of the messages for the week ahead. So here's the format, and then we'll get started. First of all, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This little furry guy here at the beginning is Apollo. And here's the format. We're going to start with a 7-day forecast, looking at the next week ahead. We'll also take a look at blessings and blocks. And just like I would look at a catalyst in a regular spread, this kind of helps you figure out what you can focus on, what might be something you want to avoid, all of the above. Then I'm going to pull some specific messages for earth, air, water, and fire so that we can kind of group the signs without me going through all of them to give you a little bit of an idea of what each grouping, what each element is going to be going through. I usually do then a portion where I will pull a question based on a live poll. So based on the messages that I start to see in the week ahead, I'll ask you for something that you want to kind of get back from me, and I'll put a live poll out. Then we'll move along into the big topic today, which was chosen by all of the people that voted here, which is hidden opportunities. What are you missing? So this is basically like blessings that might be there in disguise. A lot of times when you would see the 4 of Cups, that's what we'll be looking at. And we'll wrap up today with a meditation. And then I always answer a silent question that you answer me, or you ask me rather. So that's the format for this week. I decided to just kind of do one topic instead of 2 or 3 because they started to get kind of long. So I listened to feedback from all of you, and I hope that this resonates with you. I'm going to continue to evolve and change the weekend format. So let's get started, okay? Today is exciting because I got 3 different totems, and the last one, so for those of you that are intuitive, sometimes we see with our eyes, sometimes we see with our third eye, and you've probably had this experience before. If you've seen a full body apparition, then you look and it's not there. So your third eye perceived it, but your physical eyes can't. So I had that this morning as I was just starting to wake up, almost getting out of bed. I heard, also clairaudient, not like in the room, and then I saw kind of with my third eye, a gigantic beetle come towards me. And then it went away. And then I looked and I had the lights on, nothing was there. So your totem literally kind of came through, and I was already awake, but it definitely woke me up at that point. I did some research to see what the biggest beetle is, and it's a Hercules beetle. So we'll be looking at a Hercules beetle first. Then in my dreams, I had a very vivid one that was almost so vivid that I felt like I had lived wherever this was. But I almost saw like a harmonic convergence. There were like 3 different objects, stellar objects, but my guides told me that I was looking at Pallas. And in astrology, Pallas is an important asteroid that transits your chart. So you can look it up. You can go, there's different free utilities out there where you can kind of do your chart, or you can go to an astrologer and have them look that up. Pay attention to Pallas this month, and we'll be talking about how that asteroid will make an impact in your life, but it came through. And I could see it. I was in the darkness of space. I was looking for a star, but I couldn't find one. It was just very dark, but I could kind of see the outline of this asteroid. So that was kind of wacky. Sometimes I'm out. I have kind of like I'm more of an intuitive astrologist. I'm a tarot reader, but I'm shown the stars or shown the planets or some of these objects sometimes. And I had to read up on it. I have my own chart, and let's see. I think my Pallas is Pisces is in my Pallas, or Pallas is in Pisces. So we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, the final one is white dwarf, which is a final stellar remnant of a star like ours that will go into a red giant stage, burns off all of its fuel and its outer layers, and what's left is this little core as a white dwarf. So these are the 3 things that we're going to talk about, very much entrenched in, like we have one here on Earth, we have a couple of different astrological themes here, so let's talk about all of them. All right. Hercules. I didn't even go into not astrology, but mythology with Hercules, but obviously a very famous warrior favored by Hera. Heracles was the other name because I think Greek and Roman, they kind of just renamed it. But Hercules beetle, this one appeared as I woke, and I could hear its wings. I want to show you a picture of it because it's amazing looking if you've never seen this before. So let's take a look at this. By the way, this reading is for everybody. I put it in the title, but wait for the elements and I'll talk about your signs. But everything that I'm talking about right now is applicable to anyone that showed up, okay? So just in case my moderators get that question, I wanted to go through that in advance. And if anybody gives back in a super sticker, super chat, I will say thank you at the close of this video. So I will recognize you live, but I'll wait until the end. All right. Take a look at this beetle. It's pretty wild, actually, and it can fly. It's one of the longest, and also the longest beetles, and also the largest flying insects on the planet. So pretty darn big. Let me see if I can show like a size comparison. Yeah, here's somebody holding it. So you can kind of see it's not something that you'd want to just like sneak up on probably. All right, let's talk a little bit about the beetle and what this relates to you. It's a divine masculine symbol. I believe that the male beetles are the ones that have that horn. They are definitely larger than the females, and that's not always the case, but that's this beetle, that's something unique. Again, flying, it's a flying scarab beetle, and we'll talk more about scarabs in a second, but scarabs are actually quite positive and quite auspicious symbols to come through for you, okay? This particular, I always like to see their sort of developmental process. It has 3 different stages of metamorphosis, which is unique. Usually the metamorphosis or chrysalis or pupa stage, it's just sort of like one. You know, you'll go through, maybe there's an egg and it goes into a larva stage and then it's metamorphosis. But this one apparently has 3 different stages to that change before it reaches adulthood. And that can take over 2 years to happen. So the reason I look at this sort of development stage is if an insect comes to me as a totem and there's a growth process, there's a growth process that I can apply to you then. And so this applies to you in the way that there's maybe not a simple way to get from A to Z. You might have to figure out, I need to talk to this person. I need to acquire this skill. I have to prove this to myself. There's like a few different, up to 3, pivotal milestones necessary to complete a task at hand. Some of you may already be 2 of those into that sort of process. Maybe you're at the beginning. Wherever you're at, be patient. I didn't even capture this piece because having 3 totems was a lot. I had another dream, basically with an empress energy to it. And there was a rushed sort of energy for delivery, for delivering the child, for raising the child, for even like training. Like if you have a little dog and you tried potty training the dog, it takes a while. So you can't rush things. And when I see these 3 stages to growth, you can't rush yourself. And that's what I got from that. So try to just take your time to get through that and know that by properly going through these little metamorphoses, you're going to be able to really enjoy whatever the outcome is, okay? The horn on that beetle is not ornamental or decorative. It actually is something that the male beetles use to fight, surprise, surprise, and settle disputes. When I looked at this, I thought of like the King of Swords, and King of Swords reverse. I would say fight the fights that are worth that energy and that output. Really consider how your actions and words will come back to affect you and the ones around you, because there's always a reflective or sort of like a mirroring effect when I see like swords reversed. And there's no way I couldn't see like an ace of swords or a king of swords or a knight of swords. It's one of the court cards, or like at least an ace. I think you want to be honest with yourself. You want to also be constructive in your criticism with others. Be concise if you are delivering any criticism, and elevate the narrative. And what I mean by that is there's different ways that you can go about saying something. You can just go in there and say whatever you want and not worry, or you can find a way to try to meet the person at their level or make it applicable or a little bit more digestible to that person. So I would love for you to do that, just to kind of get into their headspace a bit and think, how would this feel if I were receiving this? How can I make this less about me, more about them, more about the collective good? Then it's going to be a lot easier to get your point across. It's one of the skills that you would use in sort of like, our effective arguing. I'm trying to think of what the best word is for this, like debate. So if you're going to try to debate something, you always want to concede to the opposition, try to set a common ground, and try to show empathy for an opposing point of view. It just makes you stronger and more effective at what you do, okay? So How is this going to apply to you? Everywhere. Like in relationships, if you're trying to get your boyfriend or girlfriend to understand what's going on, or your husband or wife, or at work, if your boss isn't listening to you or coworker isn't listening to you, you're going to be using that sort of the rhinoceros sword that we saw there, and trying to figure out like, how can I get this across without me just seeming like abrupt. So there you go. But there is a bold energy when we look at that beetle, and I feel like you want to try to kind of like embrace that bold energy. It's just about being seen as strong and direct rather than sort of being too much. So let me just take a look at this one more time, because I'd really love for us to just see the size of this beetle and kind of look at it one more time. And I also feel like you can go after what you want. When I see that, and I see the two different sort of horns there, this reminds me kind of like a crab or a lobster or whatever, like I'm gonna grab what I need. So this isn't a month where you wanna be active for sure, okay? Fun facts about this particular species of beetle: it can carry up to 850 times its body mass. So you can handle whatever's going on in your life, but you're not Atlas, to use another sort of metaphor from mythology. You don't have to carry the weight or hold the weight of the world on your back. Share responsibilities. I also get 10 of Wands energy with this, which is telling me that the task that you're doing, or the certain goal that you're kind of on right now, is close to completion. The fact that this can carry so much, I mean, to me, the card that comes through is the 10 of Wands, which sometimes seems burdened, but this beetle can do it. Just like an ant, it can carry a lot. So just decide what you want to carry, how much, how often, and then understand that ultimately this is a signal of ends, beginnings, and rebirth. Anytime you see a scarab in like Egyptian mythology, part of the reason that they worshipped it was because it was this sign of renewal. So let's embrace that and figure out, what are you ready to let go of? What do you want to put in its stead? And don't give up basically with this, okay? Because it was a pretty strong signal that came to me. And very rarely when I'm awake does a vision come to me. So I was already awake and I saw and heard this and kind of blinked my eyes and turned on the lights and it was gone. So very much wanted to come through as the primary totem for you. And even at the expense of me talking about some of my other dreams, because yeah, it was in spirit, okay? The next thing that I wanted to show you was the asteroid Pallas. Pallas, of course, taking its name from Pallas Athena. It's a kind of weird egg-shaped looking asteroid, almost moon-like. Clearly has had some, has been through some things here, as we can see here. I believe in some of my research that there is some water that gets pushed out from inside. And it's interesting because I was shown water, but then when I looked at Pallas, I'm like, there can't be. So something about, we'll talk more about that in a second, but I think focusing on finding like your emotional grounding, your creativity, allowing that to flow, because if I'm looking at that symbol and I'm not seeing it, I want you to find sort of like your either water placements or kind of move into that creative energy. All right, so there were two other asteroids that I was also shown in dreams. And, you know, if you look at your charts, there's other things that we can actually pull into, like Vesta and Chiron. So you might want to take a look at all of those sort of not so talked about placements, which are sometimes like comets and asteroids. So again, do yourself a favor and get an astrologer to run your chart, and you can look at this and look up some of these things. But Spirit wanted me to focus on Pallas, so we're going to look at Pallas. All right, here we go. All right, so Pallas is named after Pallas Athena. Pallas, the asteroid, represents your talents in art, wisdom, and defense, also justice, not much unlike Pallas Athena as well. Its namesake, Athena, was born by springing out of her father's forehead. One of my favorite sort of, I like it because you can't forget it when you study it. There's a couple of different myths about this, but one of them is that because Zeus was given this prophecy that one of his children would basically take over, he ended up like swallowing Athena's mother along with some of his other siblings, or with her other siblings. But she wanted to come out, and she basically gave him this migraine, and I think it was Hephaestus that had to break Zeus's forehead open, and then she came out in this full suit of armor with the wisdom of the king of the gods. So she's very, very smart. And when this happens, I think of an epiphany. So she's blessed with this divine wisdom, which you are as well. I think you can have these moments, these aha moments, where intuition comes through, epiphanies come through, and I want you to trust these, because too often when we get those aha moments, we let it slide. We don't do something about it. like when I get some of this energy in the morning, I have to write it down or I'm not going to remember every little piece of the dreams or all the symbols. So I have to like quickly get it down on paper. I would advise you to do the same. It doesn't matter how good the idea is. If it just kind of slips back into the ether, someone else is going to work with that energy. Okay. If you're stressed or overworked because of the way she was born, which is why I kind of went into the birth, you may have a headache. You may have migraines. You may also just have persistent thoughts in your head, like the 7 of Cups. You need to rest your head, rest yourself, clear your mind as well. You may need to talk to someone, whether it's just a friend or a professional. It's up to you. But I see a lot of energy centering around your third eye and your 7th chakra. So there's a lot going on up there. You want to try to allow that satellite to be as open as it can so that you can receive, right? Okay. Let's talk about the last totem, and then I'll kind of highlight a couple of dreams that I didn't have a chance to put into cards here. So the last totem here is an end phase for a star. I'm a little bit of a geek with astronomy, so I found this really interesting. You're not going to find like a lot of pictures of white dwarfs because they're kind of hard to, they're just little diamonds in the sky shining. But basically, it's just going to be this stellar remnant where, interestingly enough, if it cools enough, it can actually, the carbon at the center can kind of form this diamond. It's like a gigantic diamond. Our star, the sun, is going to one day end up in this particular phase. So some stars go supernova. They're so big that they basically implode in on themselves, and then kind of like, they can either become a black hole at that point, or they just disperse all this energy in the sky. Some stars like ours that are kind of smaller and maybe they were formed from another star, there's not enough material. So what happens is they swell really big and eventually all the gases escape, and the core at the center is what's left, that white dwarf. It takes billions, quadrillions actually of years before it would ever become a black dwarf, which is completely cool. So based on my research, astronomers right now think that the black dwarf is kind of like a theoretical object. So we have white dwarfs in the sky, but nothing older than that right now. So what is all of this sort of geeking out meaning? Well, first of all, I want to focus on that diamond energy at the center of that. I think this is really a chance for you to crystallize your vision and focus on what it is that you've gained from this experience, because white dwarfs represent an end phase and the wisdom acquired from sometimes even a difficult journey, but they survive. They even survive their own death. Basically, there's still something at the center. And I want you to crystallize your vision and kind of get into the 2 of Wands energy, into figuring what's next. It's not an end, it's a beginning. You can and will survive. And if there is, this is very much a phoenix rising from the ashes as well, the phoenix being the white dwarf. So what's the phoenix stage for something in your life, whether there's been a setback, a disappointment, or you're just feeling stuck? How are you going to rise above? How are you going to rise up? And I think that's the question that particular symbol wanted to bring forth. All right, one more thing from dreams. I'm going to actually just look at what I typed into my phone earlier. What I wrote down, there were actually 2 more things that I just couldn't, I'll put them in my summary later, but I couldn't write the cards before the reading, and the tables kind of like constrained me. I'm like, we've got enough cards. So my message for my guides is not to rush your inner child. I think a lot of us sometimes just focus on, if you think of like when you were a kid, all you wanted to do was grow up. When you think of being an adult, you realize, wow, I should have enjoyed some of those moments of growth more. So much like the Hercules beetle that has like 3 different stages, if you're somewhere in between the beginning and the end, enjoy where you're at. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't rush your navigation, because what I saw was the equivalent of just kind of like getting off path, or maybe even taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And then again, I got that image of like a divine feminine energy, we'll call it the Empress, where it felt like it was trying to rush what it had just birthed, whether that's a project, a child, a vision. You can't. If you think of like a little kid, and I will use or a little puppy, and you're trying to train it in any, like a puppy potty training, and a kid, you're trying to teach them language, manners, and any number of things. You can't yell at something that is younger and learning, because all that does is then make them feel bad for not being able to do what you expect them to do. You continue to have patience, you continue to hold space, and through repetition, through slow little baby steps, you get where you need to be. So don't rush the inner child, because I could see the inner child feeling sad. So I'm here to tell you, if your parents or your friends or you have been rushing your inner child, stop it, slow down, hug that inner child. Let's take it easy, take it one step at a time, and don't beat yourself up for not getting something on the first try. All right. That was an important piece that I knew I could just summarize even if I didn't write it down. Okay. These are your channeled messages from spirit, from guides, and as I sort of just came through here in the moment as well. So thank you so much for allowing me to share those with you. I'm going to stack up all of these cards. I don't do a review in these sort of larger discussions, but I will post all of these on my social media, usually by tomorrow. I'm going to do 2 at once because I have to finish the last one that I did in today. So I should have these up by tomorrow. And so you can follow me on social media, and it'll be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my website, and also, of course, the community tab on YouTube. So just a quick sort of glance of all of those different platforms in case you don't know. I'm at Nicholas Ashbaugh on just about everything. And again, I'll use stories on Instagram and Facebook, also on YouTube, to remind you of things that are coming through. So you can click on my pinned link, and there's a click to there's a link to all of the official social media handles. The only one that's different is Twitter. It's at @Ashbaugh. Everything else is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. It'll help me be able to reach you in the future. And as I said, you can show support through super stickers and super chat. All right, let's move along now. I want to take a look at the 7-day forecast, and then we'll move along to blessings and blocks. So let's start with the 7-day forecast. Let me pick the deck of cards that I want to use. Let's see what's calling to me. Okay, I think we're going to use this particular deck. Okay, all right, so let me give everything a shuffle, and let's see what the messages are for the week ahead. We're going to look at blessings and blocks. Let's see. Okay, I'll stick with this deck. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll pull one more for next Sunday, even though we'll be reading that. Okay, so let's start with the 7 days ahead, and then we'll do blessings and blocks, and we'll go from there. All right, so today is moving through challenges. We have the Devil card here, and the Devil card, there's a few things that you can look at. First of all, for those of you that are Capricorn, it's just spirit saying hello. But for the rest of you, this is really about looking at things that limit you in your life. And if you feel at this point, I can't do this, I won't do this, I'm feeling less than, that inner child message that I had right at the end of my channeled messages is absolutely what this is about. You're holding yourself back, or someone else is holding you back because they lacked the vision, or you lacked the imagination of what is possible. So I'm encouraging you to be the dreamer today and to allow yourself to move past a limiting thought. I really think that's the biggest piece of that. The Devil can also indicate things that you need to clean up. So if there's something that hasn't been dealt with, whether you need to fix something in your house, whether you need to pay a debt, whether you need to have an important conversation, do that. It's also a warning against temptation or relationships in your life that can't pan out. So if there's someone around you that can't give you what you need, it's a blessing to know that and honor that. And because we're kind of just starting off a new week, let's release that energy today, okay? Let's focus instead on tomorrow, since you can control that even a little bit more. We have the 8 of Pentacles, which is, as we see here, it's a different form of building. Usually I would see, to me, the 3 of Pentacles is sort of like mastery. This is apprenticeship. And so my question to you is, what are you working on? How are you improving yourself? What are your bigger sort of plans here? This shows me an absolute positive return on whatever you're doing. We see him working through stormy weather. So it's not always clear when we're working that things are going to sort of be okay. But this card is showing you that not only are they going to be okay? But you're working on the pivotal piece right now that's going to give you that safety, the sustenance, that sort of independence that you need in the future, because he's putting the keystone on right now. So if you're having a difficult time finishing up school, because this can definitely be associated with high school, college, any sort of facet of your life, or just getting through some sort of a lesson, you've got it. You've just got to push a little bit more. And you have support there. You have what you need, okay? So trust in your support, trust in your vision, and just finish what you've started. That would be my message. So on Monday, complete tasks that need to be completed. Don't get derailed. Focus on the small details, because 8 of Pentacles is also all the fine print. I want you to be focusing on that. Details matter. It should be a really productive day for you. It's a good day for money. It's a good day for completing stuff. The only thing that could kind of divert you on this day is a feeling of fatigue, or like I'm not seeing the immediate sort of validation of what I'm doing, okay? So trust that you are okay. All right, so as we look at Tuesday, this is a day where some of you need to take a step back. I actually don't mind the Hanged Man. To me, the Hanged Man is a necessary pause. And it also, for many of you, this could, like here in the United States, I believe Monday's a holiday. I work, but I think Monday's a holiday. So Tuesday could just be a little bit of catch up for you. And you need to sit there and think, what am I doing? What's next? So take some time, figure stuff out. Both the Hermit and the Hanged Man serve a purpose because they allow us to kind of go within. And when we go back into the mythology of Odin hanging from the tree of life to get insight, if you just take a little bit of time and look at things, I feel like the epiphany that I talked about can come through for you on Tuesday. So there's a delay, but it might be a necessary delay that saves you some time in the long run. So if you can work, and it isn't a holiday where you're out, or if you feel like working, Monday's the actual day of productivity. Tuesday, it feels like you're going to need to pause and deal with maybe some other people causing delays in your life and just not panic about it. The Hanged Man is, like I said, often a necessary pause so that you can gain insight, gain vision, and move beyond it. I would say don't spend more than that day doing it, because we see an active card here as we look at Wednesday. A Knight is definitely movement. We see an improvement in general energy. It's an upright Knight. We see him like riding a fish here. So for many of you that, especially if you're a water sign, this is a great day for you. We see this sort of creative flow of energy coming through. We see people receiving what you want to share with them with open arms, and it's a good day for love. So if you're having some difficulty in relationships, if you get into an argument today on Sunday, as we look at Wednesday, things should start to take a turn for the better. Really good day to express yourself. If there's something that you need to say, this is the day to say it. I would say write things down tomorrow on Monday. On Tuesday, wait a little bit. There's actually a benefit if you have a difficult conversation to write it and sleep on it and read it again and think it over. Give it a day or so. And then I feel like by Wednesday, highly expressive energy for you. Really open. Best day of the week so far. And then I see success and progress coming through on Thursday. You may be put in the spotlight or put on the spot, but you're going to be okay, because 6 of Wands basically signifies success. Some of you may be struggling with how to deal with sort of like group pressure or like peer pressure. Understand that people respect you enough that if you want to express a differing point of view, you can use some of the techniques that we talked about earlier with elevating that message. So I really feel like Thursday is a great day. I mean, Wednesday and Thursday, you're kind of shining here. And then we see something wrap up by the week, the end of the week here. Friday's looking fantastic. So we have the World card. This is moving on, moving up, expression. It's a good day to be seen. Like you have 2 days back to back where I feel like you're going to have an easier time connecting with people. This could be like smaller approvals. This is big approval. If you need to, for some of you, if you've been waiting for a decision or final action, I really feel good about Friday for you, okay? There may be necessary travel happening. You might have to look at it from a bigger perspective. This is taking it and realizing it's not just about me. How can I make this something bigger, something better? Really nice spread so far, actually, for you. It's a good week ahead. As we look at next Saturday, some of you are going back into a revision sort of state of mind. When I see 8 of Swords reversed, it's like taking the pen or the pencil and just saying, okay, I'm going to redline this. I'm going to circle this. I'm going to try something different here. There's also a warning with this to not be too harsh on yourself or others. Just like we talked about, this is the scarab beetle energy coming through almost a week later, still sort of helping you move through something, but a reminder not to overdo it, okay? And then as we go all the way to next Sunday, and this is subject to change because we'll look at it again next Sunday, but I like to just pull, it's really like 8 days, but next Sunday we have the 5 of Cups. It looks like it's good that I do this on Sundays because Sundays is always the like tricky energy. The rest of the week was pretty solid, but by Sundays, some of us are even thinking like, why am I here? What am I doing next? Like when I say, why am I here? Why am I on this, like in this job? Why am I like living in this situation? Why I'm in this relationship? So I want you to kind of look at your cosmic map and even like looking ahead to next week, figure out why are you where you are? And do you want to still be there? And if not, what do you want to do next? That's going to help you crystallize the vision, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So again, a mini review, and then we'll move on to blessings and blocks. Today, try not to limit yourself. Try to observe what's obvious as well. Focus on the small stuff, the fine print on Monday, necessary pause on Tuesday, good day to express yourself on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're seeing both Thursday and Friday being days to engage with others and get stuff done. Again, revisions happening on Saturday, and we'll talk next Sunday and figure out what the 5 of Cups is about. But usually it's about seeing things from a different perspective, trying to, again, go a little bit higher and not get pulled down energetically. But you have a good week ahead. Actually, you have a really great week. Tuesday's the only day where you might be feeling like, why is it taking so long to get something done? All right, I'm going to go into a different deck here to look at blessings and blocks, and then we'll take a look at maybe a poll that you can vote on. So give me a second here to see which one is calling to me, and we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to use this one here because it's readily available. All right, so for blessings and blocks, let's see the blessing for the week ahead. All right, so you have a chance to let something go or to achieve peace. It says, I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. Great message, and something that we should all be trying to do more often. So the blessing this week is to find peace, to make peace, and to be at peace with something. A good day for doing that is Tuesday based on this card, okay? Let's take a look at what could potentially block you from finding that. Your relationships with others, interestingly enough, I commit to the patience of seeing the good in all things, but there could be a challenge in your love relationships this week ahead, where it's sort of like, I want to see the positive here, but my relationship with someone is getting in the way a little bit of me being able to do that. So let me just pull a clarifying card for each, and then we're going to move on to a question that you may like. I'll have you vote on one. So give me a second here. So just a clarifying one on the blessing. How can you find peace? This is the Empress reversed that I talked about earlier. So an Empress reversed has all the power she needs to move forward, but she's holding on to something, or in some cases, the inner child is being pushed in a way that it doesn't need to be pushed. So give yourself time to grow. You can heal relationships with parents. I forgot to mention that with Pallas Athena as one of our related totems anyway. Definitely relationships with parents, mother and father both, because whenever you look at the gods, usually relationships with parents could be part of it. But definitely her, I would say paternal energy is going to be something that would factor in. So the men in your life, how are you relating to them and how can you heal the relationships there? And that's kind of leading into the next one, which could be the block. So how can you focus on love? And then we got the Emperor. So we basically got mom and dad, and we got divine feminine and divine masculine energy coming through. And so just know that you have all that you need, even if you didn't get the validation that you wanted from your guardians, from your mentors, from your parents. You already have that energy within, and it's okay to progress at your own speed. Okay, so parent energy definitely did come through. Thank you, Spirit, for that confirmation. All right, so let's do a viewer poll at this point. And what I'd like to do is kind of look at the themes here of the next week, and I'm going to pull some items up here that I think we might benefit from. So I think that as we're looking at this, I want to focus on, I think we could ask some questions here. All right, so patience, finding patience with myself and others. I'm just going to say finding patience. You know what I mean, because there's too many words in that one. So we'll do finding patience. And then I think the next thing that would benefit everybody here as I'm looking at this is also how to really navigate like being in the spotlight. So being in the spotlight. And I feel like those two are enough. So let's just, I'm going to do viewer's choice. So for those of you that are watching live, what do you want me to cover? And I'm going to put this poll right now. Finding patience, I'm going to put with self and others, being in the spotlight. So there you go. I just posted a poll, and I'll give you a second to vote on that. And I'm going to kind of stack up all of these cards while you vote. This is only for those watching live, but I try to kind of like give you an opportunity to interact with me if you're here. So right now, it looks like finding patience with self and others is what's winning. So I'll give you another second to wrap it up while I select a deck of cards that we're going to use for this. All right. So I think patience is the winner. So let's end the poll and let's take a look at what's coming through. I'll shuffle and just make sure, because sometimes when it reports back to me, it's a different outcome. So I want to make sure. All right. So finding patience, 57%. All right. By a narrow margin, it won. All right. So we're going to look at past, present, future influences in finding patience with yourself or with others. I think this is really appropriate given that I saw the divine feminine energy coming through in dreams, but didn't get a chance to talk about it. So we do now. So let's take a look right now and see what's coming through. Past, present, and future. Okay. So when we look at the past influences here, we have the King of Pentacles. So for many of you, finding patience with yourself has to also do with this feeling of really wanting to provide, okay? Having more than enough. There may have been someone in your life, again, it could have been your father or your mother, that really expected you to have everything together all the time. And unlike Athena, we're not all born out of someone's forehead with all of our armor on. We have to learn through experiences in our lives. So I want you to kind of separate yourself from the expectations of others and again, go back into what you need and what you want. This is not selfish when it's upright. If it's reversed, it is. So what we see here is, I just want to affirm that many of you are doing a good job at providing for yourself and for others. I want you to take a moment to think, what am I going to do with that? What else can I do with that? Because there's a sort of passivity to this energy. So what I would say for yourself is if you've been waiting for a long time, you've been patient enough in this respect. You've given enough to others. So I'd like you to do something for yourself or do something that brings you passion because you've done the work. When we're looking at present challenges, it's really just emotions. Some of you, we have the Page of Cups here. I'll pull it a little closer because it's hard to see with the light. So the Page of Cups here is trying to get outside of that box, trying to think outside of the box. And that's what the reversal of this is saying. But sometimes we also just feel drained. So if you are currently in a position where you're the glue that keeps things together, you're the one that listens to everyone, you're just highly sensitive. You have permission and encouragement. And if I remember, it was again Tuesday. You have even a day of this week where you can just hermit a little bit and take care of yourself. Okay. So get yourself balanced right now. You've done the requisite work. It's your time. It's okay to feel, a little bit uncertain or exposed. But what we see here in the future is the Knight of Wands, which is great. The Knight of Wands is reversed. So one of the things that I see for some of you, however, is that you might have a difficult time expressing your point of view with others. Maybe you can find an ally or a friend that can help you articulate your thoughts, or maybe you can just make peace with the fact that you have to just live your own life. So the Knight of Wands can kind of march to the beat of their own drum. And I think that's the message here for you. So to recap on patience with yourself first, and then we'll talk about others, but patience with yourself. I feel like you've grown more than you realized. You're highly sensitive at the moment here. So what I want you to do is to just start to live your life the way you need to live your life. You do not need permission from other people. You're on that path. The biggest sort of constraint of patience with others is you do not have to be the mother or father figure for them. That literally, those are the cards that I pulled were the Emperor and Empress, mom and dad, basically. So you need to put some of that energy within and give them a chance to, you can encourage them And but set them up to give them the tools to succeed. And don't beat them up if they make a mistake at the beginning too. So the patience here is just like if it's an adult, same thing as a kid or a dog. They're not going to get it right on the first time. Probably not. If they are, they're amazing. But give them a chance to sort of get there. Okay? Those are your messages for patience. Nothing really bad there. I actually feel like it was fairly straightforward and understandable. So I like that. Okay, let's move on to the earth, water, fire, and air messages here. So we're going to start with earth. And let's shuffle this. This is for the week ahead. We're just going to see if one card for each so that we're not here all day. I'm going to pull a card for each just to see the messages. All right, this deck is not shuffling with me today, so give me a second. I'm going to do one more shuffle because it got a little stubborn. There we go. Okay, starting with earth. Then we're going to do air, water, and fire. Okay, so I'm going to pull the camera up and we'll talk about this. So beginning here with earth signs. So for those of you that are Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, what we're looking at here for your earth messages this month, patience, right? I think it's super important for you to not rush yourself, to be able to take one step at a time. And one of the things for you, I would say, if you've been waiting though forever, this is the time. So there's kind of like, I guess this can cut both ways. So for some of you, you've maybe been waiting for a moment, a sign or a signal. And the universe is telling you that the signal has to happen within. An external signal, although convenient, isn't always going to happen the way you want it to happen. So you can see her floating on a little piece of earth. So it's kind of appropriate that this came through for earth. And I would say, just get started. Just don't expect it to happen overnight. That's the key thing with this, okay? Temperance is great. You're divinely guided with it, but there is patience that's necessary. And you have to eventually just dip your foot in the water and take the first step. So I think that's the most important thing. Patience with others, patience with self, taking the beginning steps, and then not letting anybody push you off of your sort of Zen state of mind, okay? I think that's super important. Let's take a look at air. I love that we got a page of swords for this one. So just start to speak, start to take action. And you also may be the recipient this week of an important piece of communication. So I would say keep your eyes and ears open, keep your third eye open as well, and just take action on the messages that come to you. Super important right now. So again, we're looking at air. So this would be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. You may have something that comes through an email. It may come through in, even the mail. Sometimes we don't look at stuff coming through the post. So whether it's, some states are having elections and things like that, or having things that you need to pay attention to. Maybe there's something with your insurance or renewal. Take a look at that and make sure that you're not missing it right now. Okay. You're in a good space though. I love pages because their energy is very receptive. So if there's something that you want to say, it feels like this month or this week rather, you're going to have a really nice connective energy to anybody that you want to talk to. So yay, you showed up exactly as I would expect you, just like the water signs did. So you seem to be in a really good space. Okay. We'll go to the next one now. Let's take a look at water signs. So we're going to be looking at Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. You got a really elevated card for this. I love it. We have the King of Cups here coming through, exactly what I would expect for you. And this week, it's good for love. It's good for relationships. This is a good time to sort of step into your power. I love it. I would have loved to see King of Swords. I love that you got the King of Cups here. So really nothing negative to say here. One thing that I would kind of add with this one, though, we even see him putting one foot in the water. So there's a common ground or a common sort of theme here. I think even the Daughter of Swords is doing the same thing. We see one foot kind of touching the ground. So there's a common theme on all signs so far, which is a first step is needed. With this, some of you feel like you're waiting for someone to come to you. Meet them halfway would be my message on this. And because we see this sort of powerful energy this month, if there's something that you truly feel passionate about, this is the time. Take action this week. And when I looked at the cards, Thursday and Friday were really, really good, like the Six of Wands and the World card. So those two energies are really, really important to remember. So I feel like step into that and you're going to be set up for success. I like it. I like it overall. There could also be a partner coming through that has a very similar energy, possibly the same sign, but just sees you and really understands what you have to offer and is interested in that. Okay. As we look now at, what are we on now? We're on fire. I feel like all of the elements kind of aligned up nicely here, but we have the Five of Wands. So I'm glad that we got Wands. I would prefer it not be reversed. So one of the things that those of you that are in kind of like in the middle of a situation right now, fire signs, I think what you want to do is not lose track of why you started something. So again, we're looking right now at Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Some of you want to lead. Some of you don't want to follow. You know, we got a lot of other leadership cards or kind of court cards this month, and it feels like some of you are ready to step into the energy of creation. It's like, enough with this, or I'm tired of being stuck in the situation. So I'm giving you encouragement to do that, because the Five of Wands reverse is saying you're over a certain sort of activity. So if you are volunteering time or working somewhere, doing something for a while, I think that finish up what you've started. But if you're kind of not connecting with a job or a relationship, then this is telling me that if it's too much work, or if it doesn't feel like you want to get up and do whatever you're doing, then that's the first signal that there's something else that you could be focusing on. If we get past this, look, there's a path in front of you. So sometimes we are blocked by the sort of friends, community, or the job. We're anchored down by something. So if we're thinking of like a ship metaphor, this is like pulling up the anchor so that you can allow yourself to set sail and be free, okay? Release that anchor, let go of it. And I feel like that's the most important thing. There is teamwork that's going to be necessary this week, probably unavoidable, that you're going to have to work with some other people to get things done. So what we see here are people that hopefully can work together rather than pushing the energy against one another. All right. So there you go. I like what I'm seeing here. Again, just a quick word or two about each. For earth signs, patience and taking the first step. For air signs, taking the information that comes to you and doing something with it. Following up on a communication. Don't drop the ball with communication. For water signs, you're in a great space right now. I feel like basically, again, meeting someone halfway and not being afraid to express yourself is great. Relationships are really coming forth, relationships and creativity, but you're in your power zone this week. I like it. And then finally, as we look at fire signs, feels like it's time to move on. Got to finish what you started, but then it looks like there's moving on, moving up. There's another path in front of you. All right. Some people are at the Five of Wands, but you kind of mentally are at the 10 of Wands and you're already there. Okay. So that is the week ahead when it comes to elements. Let's now move along to the bigger sort of question today, which was hidden opportunities. What are you missing? I really feel like this is an opportunity to find something that you didn't expect to be there too. So let's take a look and let's see what's coming through. Let me see which deck I want to use. I think I might use this one because it has some cool sort of interpretations in it. So, all right, so we're going to use St. Croix. Let's see what's coming through and focus on hidden opportunities. So looking in the environment, looking in the past, looking at what's around the corner, all of that. By the way, this topic was selected by subscribers and also by channel members and Patreon patrons who can vote twice. So that's one of the perks of membership. You can help me select stuff. There's not a lot of people that vote. So like if you are ever curious on one of the topics, vote. I think we had maybe like 1,200 this week or something. So there's a good chance, like based on how many people subscribe and just even with members, I think only like 1/4 of the patrons and maybe 1/2 of my members voted. And then it's 0.5% of all subscribers voted. So it's a pretty small amount of people that choose these topics. All right, let's take a look now at hidden opportunities. Thank you so much to everybody that's giving back. Like I said, I will recognize you at the end of the video just so I don't interrupt the flow. right, this card wants to come out there as well. Let me now do the expanded forecast with this. By the way, if you didn't get your top choice, we had a really close second one, which was, I think, turning points. Vote again next week. I usually feature the most popular ones again. So that one was pretty close. It only lost by maybe like 200 votes. So if you want to vote for it next week, I'll put it at the top of the list. Because I'm curious about that one as well. But I don't vote in the polls. I just create them for you guys. That's one of the changes I've tried to do this year, is just kind of have like a little bit more opportunity for you to speak up and participate. I think it's more fun for all of us. I'm pretty close to a milestone too, and I'll probably put a poll up on my member and Patreon areas to see what you want me to do for that when we hit 300,000. All right, so let's take a look at the opportunity that is at hand. And the reason that I did listen to feedback on this, I figured like doing just one topic would allow me not to be so rushed. We could really dig into that topic, and we're going to be showing up every weekend. So I don't need to sort of like do 2 or 3. I'd rather just do one and have a chance for this to be like a more digestible video. All right. So looking at hidden opportunities, and this is your catalyst message, which can help you align to it and not get distracted. Basically, it's also how you can get the action started. It says there's no place like home, nestle into the sweetness. So for some of you, you already have what you need where you're at. For those of you that have been stuck at home, like many of us because of the pandemic, this is saying keep working from home if it's working for you. There's an opportunity maybe even to do the work from home. There's opportunities right around you. This is telling me that there are resources and opportunities closer to home than you think. So if home is not your home, it could also just be in your community, in your network. So I feel like you could be overlooking some sort of very obvious opportunity right around you. So tap into that and yeah, go for it. It looks really optimistic here. And if you are working from home, the nestle into the sweetness piece is also saying it's important for you to feel comfortable and set up a proper office. So maybe that means downsizing, upsizing, creating a space that's just for you, all of the above. Own it if you're going to do it, okay? And good stuff with working offsite. I feel like a lot of us realize that we can do it. Sometimes there's a lack of recognition from traditional businesses or structures where they think that there's only one way to be able to work, and I think we're starting to prove them wrong. I worked for companies like that where no matter how responsible you were, and no matter what you did, they were like, no, we want you to come into the office for a certain amount of meetings, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like you're starting to prove that you can do it on your own, which is great. Okay, so hidden opportunity, something's closer to you than you think. Either a person around you, or you can work from a place that's comfortable. Make sure that wherever you're at, it feels like home as well. We have the Queen of Wands energy right at the center. All right, so as a sort of indication of who you are and what you can do, she's a leader. This is, if I had to hire a card in tarot to get something done, it would be the Queen, probably not the King of Wands. King of Wands I see as like CEO, someone that sits behind a stuffy desk. But the Queen of Wands, she's more in the middle of things. She could be like a VP or a manager, but she's basically connecting to all of the important people. So you have boss energy coming through. If you don't normally see yourself as a boss, as a leader, as a manager, you have it. You have that potential. You don't have to actually exist with that title or in that role, but you have the necessary pieces to lead, to inspire, and to get work done. So I like the managerial oversight energy that's coming through with this Queen of Wands. She's holding her own drum here, or maybe a shield that kind of looks like a drum. So I want to remind you to protect your ideas and to march to the beat of your own drum. So strong energy of creation, of leadership coming through with that. You can do it, but you're going to lead by example with it. All right. We have the Knight of Pentacles right over top of that. I love that he's in this field of sunflowers. If you look behind, you can see all those beautiful sunflowers. There's a lot of sunflowers in this deck, which is, I don't know, I just felt drawn to the color, which I'm kind of wearing today. It's almost like the field right there. So Knight of Pentacles is great because what I see is that if you take this sort of the lead role, the leadership, what you start to receive, how people are seeing you, what's coming back is a lot of resources, a lot of interest. I'll take a Knight any day when it comes to money or career or life purpose, because it tells me that you're making progress, that word's getting out, that people want to invest in this, that people want to connect with this. I see movement. So the movement will happen when you take the lead. And we see abundance connected with this as well. I'm taking a quick scan. Yeah, there's really no negative financial cards. There's a change of fortune that's happening, which we'll talk about in a second, but most of your cards are pretty positive. So we like this. We love the energy there. Lots of fiery energy in this deck as well. So definitely time to kind of take action. So for those asking, I'm reading now for everybody present. I already went through the elements. I do that at the beginning. So you can listen to that on replay. All right, so let's now take a look at deep past. So this, for some of you, could be something that you forgot. And it definitely is makes sense here, because I look at the sun as being the baby of tarot, because usually you would see, you know, little baby marching in on a horse. On this particular deck, we are getting the divine feminine energy that I picked up on in dreams. And it's basically saying, embrace the inner child and go back and do something that you wanted to do. Love yourself, know that you are more than enough, know that you can get this done. You're gonna be all right. So this is a rebirthing stage for you. Reclamation of something lost in childhood, lost in youth, because you went down a divergent path. You went another direction. So now you get to go back in time a little bit and say, now let's take this path and see what happens. You can do it at any phase. Never too old, never too young. So if you're really young and you're on you started a path in school and you think, I don't like it. Maybe you're just in the first semester. Perfect. You're not wasting that much time. Maybe you can transfer credits, etc. If you're 75 and you're kind of done with your traditional path of work and you think, but I want to go back and do this, you could always go back to school. You could always decide to take on something completely different. Who knows how many years you have left? Enjoy them all. And oftentimes when we're doing something that we love and we're more connected to, we live longer, we're more successful, etc., etc. So go back and connect with the inner child. I don't care if you're 7 or 77. Just do what you need to do there. There's a second chance, okay? We have a Page of Pentacles. Lots and lots of pentacles coming through here. We got the Knight of Pentacles, the Sun. Well, the Sun energy just kind of has the same, the sunflowers are in everything here. But now we have the Page of Pentacles here. If you can see it, you can do it. I love the camera in this particular card here. So your vision, the crystallization of the vision, when we were talking about the white dwarf remnant, the crystallization of that vision is what's going to create it. But there's a developmental state that's happening. So we're going to go back to old school photography, not so much, even with cell phones and digital cameras, you still usually have it on a memory card or on your SIM card in your phone. You have to do something with that. Back in the day, you had black and white film that had to be developed, and then you had to make a print of it. So basically, if we look at this, because it's an old SLR camera, I would say, what are you doing with the picture? When are you going to develop the picture? Or nowadays, when are you going to take it and share it? What are you going to do with it? Because you have the imprint, you have the vision, but it hasn't yet been broadcast. So nowadays it would be putting it on Instagram. But how far we've come, or I don't know, maybe how far we've gone back. But the main thing now is to focus on the next step. So I think some of you have a big idea, the epiphany that I talked about. The visualization of it is there. The development isn't there yet. This is why we have a leadership card, and then we have a clarification that the idea that you have is good, all right? So I see latent image, latent idea, something beneath the surface that needs to be lifted and moved to actuality, okay? All right, so the next thing, by the way, don't get sensitive. I didn't say 77 was old. I just said whatever age you are, okay? So don't read into things at all. All right, so the Magician card reversed. And I agree, you can be 107 and it's young at heart, all right? So I didn't say it was old. All right, the Magician card reversed. This is really focusing on maintaining your power and maintaining your focus. And with this one, you can get distracted like I did, which takes you off path, which is the worst thing that could happen. So this month, you have the energy of manifestation. By the way, what is he doing? But he's kind of connecting with all these cards, right? Also, it almost looks like photos. So I want you to have a photo finish. Don't let someone distract you. Don't let something distract you from getting to that finish line, because you're right there. You're right where you need to be. The Magician card is a conduit between heaven and earth. As above, so below. You're that sort of carry through. So your higher self already sees that you can do it. The Magician is helping you also connect to people in your life that can do it as well. Okay. So I think that's really, really key. And the other thing with this one is don't take on too many things. So with the Magician, he only lacks his sort of power when maybe there's like too many things cooking at once, right? So like if you have, 4 different things on the stove at once, something's going to boil over, something can burn, something can get overcooked. So even though the Magician can work with all 4 elements, it might be better if they focus on just 1 or 2 things to get it done effectively. So avoid distraction, avoid overextension, and believe in yourself, because magic works first and foremost when you trust and believe and connect authentically to the flow. Okay? So let's take a look at the Wheel of Fortune in reverse in the near future. What I love about this is I looked at it as a change of fortune. Okay? So when we look at this one too, we kind of have the angel from Temperance that we were looking at in the previous deck, and we have a mermaid here saying that no matter where you're at in this wheel, you're going to be able to get to the next phase. You're not going to drown. You're not going to have any problems. So I see a change, a necessary change that's coming through for some of you. So some of you might be sort of stuck in a place because you're afraid that this is the only place that you can make that kind of money, get that kind of respect. You've worked so hard to get there. Again, talking about the ability to reset a cycle at any point in your life, you can do it. I did mine mid-career, and I've talked about it probably too many times, but when I spoke with HR, they asked me, they said, "Are you sure you want to walk away from your career path?" I said, "Yes, I am. I know what I'm doing." But I had to know that. Otherwise, for some people, that would freak them out. It still stuck with me for a second. But there were like 3 or 4 different people that I had to answer to. I had to quit like 4 times to make sure that I wasn't making a mistake, because I was pretty good at what I did. And they didn't understand why I kind of had this internal awakening, because I didn't complain. But I just had grown and outgrown that. Kind of like a snake where you have to like let go of that skin. So for some of you, you're at that point where it's time to shed your skin, or it's time to go from this sort of emotional state to spread your wings and fly. So I get that sort of energy of changing out of that. If you think you're stuck and this is the only way to do it, it will be, because you haven't entertained the possibility. I think that what you should do, if money or people in your life depend on you for that money, is that, I was going to say, if money is the main concern, or if people depend on you, just do your homework to make sure that you have all of the sort of ducks in a row. How much financial security do you need? How big does the nest egg need to be? And I think that's going to be really key. So once you know that, then you have the power to decide, well, I've saved up this much. I can do this for this amount of time to see if it will work. I'm ready to take that step. You never have to just sort of like rush out there. The older you get, the more you realize you need to have a net. You need to have some sort of a plan. So make the plan. That's the only thing that's holding some people back. For the rest of you, it might just be a feeling of something more. I need something more. And the Wheel of Fortune, it's not just money, it's cycles. So I feel like some of you are just stepping into a new cycle. So maybe you're ahead of the expected cycle. For some of you, you might want early retirement. If you made your own business, got really successful, and you're in your 50s, you might want to say like, well, I want to travel now. I can always come back and work later. I'm going to take 5 or 10 years now and do something with some of the money that I had so I can enjoy it. While I'm really, really, happy and healthy and everything is here. So do it. You can take early retirement. Maybe you're really young and you decided that, you have sort of a clear vision, and school is going to wait a year or whatever. So whatever your path is, it might diverge from what's expected. You might decide to go back and do something. You might decide to go this way. Whatever you want to do, it has to feel right for you. But this is a new cycle that's going to take maybe up to 2 years, like we talked about with the scarab beetle, the Hercules beetle that came through. So think about it. All right. King of Pentacles coming through in your ego, reversed. So this is the Universal Father card. Feels like many of you have done a lot to help others. You've been giving, you've been nurturing, you've been maybe working your butt off at a job, and it's just sort of like, why am I doing all of this all of the time? So you don't have to do it all of the time. It's nice to give back, but not at the expense of health or happiness. So make sure that you're nurturing yourself. Make sure that you're enjoying some of that. I talked about travel. Travel at any age is important. And I think sometimes looking now, kind of turning the lens towards the younger people that might be watching, if you are in college and you're so focused on exams and grades and colleges that want to accept you, or post-college, like, do I have enough of this or that? Try to enjoy that moment for a moment, because it's one of the few times in your life that you just get to be and study and absorb. Later in life, you don't get that same opportunity as much. You have to open it up, and it's harder because you're juggling a lot. So if you're younger, try to really soak in everything you can, have some fun, and don't take it so seriously. Nobody as an adult has ever asked me if I had perfect attendance. They never asked me, what my GPA was in my sophomore year of high school. They never cared about my final GPA in college or whatever. Like, nobody cares, really. Did you finish that? What have you done since then? How are you applying your skills? So sometimes we focus too much on your activities and your grades and the college that you went to, and comparing that to another college and thinking one is better or worse. Stop it. And the same thing with jobs, comparing, like, because your friend might be at a top job and yours is not, that you think that yours is more or less than what they're doing. It's work. You're learning, you're taking different paths. So are you happy? That's really what this card is saying. Are you happy? Does it feel good? Are you getting value out of the experience? If so, you're rich. You're doing great. A+. If not, then even if you're succeeding, it's empty success. So we want it to be fulfilling. So this is a chance to really fulfill yourself. It's also talking about money and allowing yourself to kind of realize, because we've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. I feel like there's some good energy around abundance. If you've had trouble with money, get comfortable with money. Know what you've made, know what you've lost, trust that you can make more, and you'll have the Midas touch. Because I'm seeing one of the sort of the hidden opportunities here is that you're better with money and business than you think. It may be more sort of like the management side of it, but if you can manage others' money and business, then start to do the same for yourself. Sometimes we can help everyone else but ourselves, so I want you to put the lens on you, okay? All right, let's look at what's going on around you. 7 of Swords. The environment around you is not supportive to the change that you need to make. The 7 of Swords, it was reversed, by the way, but the 7 of Swords is a tricky card because sometimes people are falling through on their promises. So one of my questions is what's going on around you, even though we didn't get to look at that, like the water cooler. This is very much the water cooler card. So what's going on around you is some of you need to get away from a toxic environment. It could be a friend that doesn't see you for who you can be, like a frenemy. It could be an office where the morale is low because there's poor leadership. It could be your parent who's just not letting you be who you want. They want you to be inauthentic, because the 7 of Swords can be a lie, or it can be a false front, a facade. So what we want to do this month is to cut through the facade and to see beyond that white lie or that veil. So you're lifting the veil, you're going beneath, and you're really looking at what you need to deal with this month. And that's going to be, for some of you, the wake-up call that you need to move on, if that's something that you want to do. So the 7 of Swords can also be the lie that we tell ourselves. That wasn't in any book, but that's just something that I've learned through reading over many years. So sometimes we convince ourselves that it's okay to be where we're at, or we convince ourselves that we're happy, or that it's okay. And the 7 of Swords is really kind of like your higher self saying, is it okay? So I want you to make things okay by seeing them at beyond the face value, going deeper and really feeling it out. And if something needs to change, this is the time to do it. This particular part of the reading can be just like any of my monthly ones. It can be 6 to 8 weeks. So you can take a couple of months if you need to get to that personal honesty level, and it'll be all right, okay? Let's take a look at what the big opportunity is for you. So we have the Page of Wands in reverse. What's cool with this Page of Wands is he's almost connecting to the cloud and getting that sort of that inspiration. So that epiphany that I talked about is there. You could also see him as pushing the clouds away, clearing up his vision, clearing up his mind. So the Page of Wands is in the sort of germination state, thinking about it, maybe talking about it a little bit. I want to see a little bit more doing. So again, taking that initial idea and following it through is going to be key. I like your idea. I like the vision that you have for yourself. Again, many of you are natural leaders, but you haven't maybe had the opportunity because people couldn't see that for you. So the gift of today's reading is if you can see it, others will be able to see it too, and you'll be more likely able to do it. But you have to see yourself in that position. So I don't know if you've ever had this. I mean, maybe it's manifestation or maybe it's just a gut instinct, but I've had situations before where I just know that it's going to work out, or that I'll be chosen for something, or I have a really good shot at this. I feel good about it. So I want you to find something in your life and really get to that place of feeling like, not only can I get this, but I think I've got this. Get into that confidence. And then if it doesn't happen, that's okay. But you're going to have a much better likelihood of having it happen when you have a conversation with a potential employer, with someone that might invest, or with a partner that wants to date you or something. If you just feel good about it, like that you have something to offer, and you do have something to offer. We don't have one negative card except the Seven of Swords, and that's in the environment. Everything else has been positive and uplifting, and it's been showing me that some of you actually are a jack of all trades. The Magician card is someone who can do almost anything, but we want to maybe take some of the generalist energy and focus it on something right now, and that's where you're going to really light up. All right, we had two cards that's kind of stuck together here. The Six of Pentacles I'm going to start with. So the Six of Pentacles here is reminding us that we have more than enough if we make the proper choices. This is an unusual card because it's lacking the set of scales and the coins. We instead see two people just loving each other. So I want you to love what you're doing, and I want you to use passion, connection to what you're doing as the sort of deciding point of, should I invest in this? Should I invest in that? That's the normal Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles tells me that if you do a shift in career or path, that you will be able to make it happen. It is having not everything that you want, but having more than enough. And it tells me that usually with the Six of Pentacles, that given time, you can accomplish all goals. But usually time or scope has to be flexible a little bit because your resources are less than you are used to. So I see growth and this sort of trajectory happening out of that, but you have to give yourself time to step into that. All right. The next piece is you have to be the one that's kind of steering this chariot. Trust the GPS. Trust what's coming through. Don't rush. Don't rush the child and don't rush the chariot, because all that happens with that is a tantrum with the child and probably a crash with the chariot. So we don't want you to kind of like crash and burn. That's why we have a resource management card connected to the sort of passionate energy that we see here. And then this sort of like slow and steady chariot that's coming through. So take your time on that. All right, let's expand this a little bit. And let's take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny as they sort of connect to hidden opportunities. Okay, I love this. So in health, we have a waterfall, but it's in reverse. So some of you, let's start with the face value version of this. By the way, the caption underneath says effortless. So this is sort of like, what is it? Salmon that streams, that goes upstream. There's different types of fish that sometimes have to go upstream. I feel like some of you have been going against the flow. And sometimes we need to do that if part of your journey on this planet is to create change. If you are sort of like a change maker, then yes, this is just validation that you're working hard, that you'll eventually get there, but it might take longer. For the rest of you, there's a message here that says, why don't I just go with the flow? If I have a natural talent for this, if I have a natural affection towards doing something, why am I going against that? Because if it's effortless, if it works, if I like it, and I'm ignoring it, maybe there's something that I can learn from going down that path. Also, there should be in your life this feeling that the work isn't like the Five of Wands that I picked earlier for, let's see, was it here? Yeah, so I don't want something to seem like it's too much work when I was talking about, I think that was for fire earlier. So if something seems like it's too much work and you're not having fun anymore, I want it to feel more fun. So to be happy and healthy, since this is in your health, there should be a sense that it's not so much bother or so much work. The waterfall you should be able to go like with the energy. So take an audit in your life and think, where am I putting in a lot of energy? Is it worth it? Do I feel like it's fulfilling? Do I feel like it's making a difference? And if it isn't making a difference, why am I doing it again? And that's going to be a big sort of clarifying moment for you. And when I'm just kind of scanning the cards here again on general health, I think honesty is the most important thing that's coming through. And I think also not kind of, sometimes we can escape in things. So the King of Pentacles reverse can be an escapist. He can sometimes eat too much, drink too much, or play games too much, whatever. It can be going to extremes. So this month, instead of trying to sedate or kind of numb the stuff away, figure out what maybe isn't making you happy and go down a path where there's less resistance and see how that feels. Because it shouldn't be that much work, wherever it is. Relationships and work especially, or life path, there should be a point where it starts to feel good. So I'm giving you permission, if you are not feeling good about it, to try something else. You can always come back. Kind of a nice segue into wealth. It says protected by the angels, you're cherished by the angels. So you're protected in the path that you want to take. This reminds me a lot of temperance reverse, being impatience, common theme that came through about 3 times today. So with career and finance, you're protected in the change that you need to make. You might need to change course and change direction. For some of you, it might feel like you're going up or counter to flow. For some of you, it might feel like you're going exactly where you need to. The initial decision to turn that wheel is the hardest. Things start to get easier after that. So if I were to imagine the Wheel of Fortune, I sometimes see it as sort of like when you're steering a ship, right? And you're turning that around. The ship takes a while to react to it. Even when you're cranking the steering column of a car, you have to do it a few times and then the car kind of catches up. The thought, the sort of steering, and then the reaction. So for you, I want you to be patient as you go through that sort of 3-step process. Now we understand the metamorphosis of the Hercules beetle, right? I think it's those 3 different things. See it, set it into motion, and then allow the motion to happen. The allowing is what's key. People have to think about it. Things have to get signed. Stuff happens in the world. You're kind of releasing it like dominoes. So just let the dominoes go. I really do like your overall energy with money. You end on a good card, which is balanced, the 6 of Pentacles. I see you going from a place possibly of learning a lot or having a lot and kind of reinvesting a little bit and not coming out of this worse for the wear. You might be losing a little bit in the initial investment, but that's necessary when you want to make a change. So it feels like if you've done the proper research and financial sort of background here, I feel like you can actually step into that next thing. So just make sure that you have the plan of action, the blueprint. Without the blueprint, who knows? So get the blueprint in order, and then I feel like you're in a good space with that. Let me see if there's anything else coming through with this. The other thing that I'm seeing here again is not to overthink. If you have a really great sort of epiphany, go with it. Don't sit on it too much because you're going to miss the window of opportunity. Okay? All right, so let's look at how people around you, the ones that love you, could be reacting to this. And also, if there's some opportunity within that connection here. So it says, take a chance on love. We start to love, our lives are changed forever. We have someone in here that's almost on a 6 of Swords type boat. So I feel that for those of you that are truly following your path, those that love you will take the road with you, right? Even if it is the road less traveled. So this is a litmus test for some of you with respect to relationships and love in your life. Some people may have to sort of take a leap of faith with you, but it does look promising for you. And, when I'm looking at relationships as a whole here, we also see even the 6 of Pentacles, which is actually more of a love card here. We have 2 people loving each other. So if someone really, really cares about you, I feel like they're willing to take this journey with you and vice versa. So there's a little leap of faith, but I see partnership or I see support on that leap of faith. And if people can't kind of take a chance on that, then they're not truly with you, right? They're not truly seeing you. Okay. Let's look at the outcome card here, the destiny card, and we have the swan, which is always beautiful and shows change. Time for a deep dive, amen to that. And I think that this deep dive will pay off because you could look at this Wheel of Fortune card. Again, these are different decks, but very similar energies. And we see the mermaid coming out as an angel. So you have to go into the difficult stuff to be able to come out and really understand. And it's cycles. We start and kind of repeat these cycles again and again. Transformation ultimately with the swan. Transformation as well with the Hercules beetle, which went through 3 metamorphoses. You can have 2 or 3 different career paths in your life, not to mention dozens and dozens of jobs. Long gone are the days where our parents would have the same job for 50 years and then have a retirement. We're in a different and faster moving time where that energy doesn't work anymore. So you're okay, basically, based on what I'm seeing here. Let's talk about the big idea with this, and then we'll move on to the meditation, and we'll do the final card at the end. All right, so the big idea that I see as I'm looking at this, again, if we just go to the heart of it, is that you have boss energy coming through, managerial energy. You can take your ideas and execute them pretty nicely. And we see the execution bringing this sort of field of sunflowers, which are all little tiny pentacles, if you can see them. So this is a time for abundance for you. There has to be, though, some sort of transference from the vision to execution. So in traditional photography, printing your negative. In modern day, it's sort of like sharing it from your iPhone or your Android so that people can see what's there, because it's still stuck on the device. Not too different from the olden days. I, by the way, studied black and white photography back when I was in high school. So it's kind of cool to have that metaphor. I think that, how something can develop, and definitely this connects with you right now. I think the only big block as I'm looking at everything is honesty and transparency. So this is a time to kind of like cut through all of those levels of, sometimes we're protecting ourselves with that, or people think they're protecting us by not showing us everything. Just say, give it to me real. And I think as long as you keep it real this month, then you're going to be on that path of growth and development. So I see creativity and management coming through as the things that are missing. You have the inner creative juices to make it happen. You have the managerial skills, and you can take your resource situation and work with it. If you want more, you can make more. If you have a lot and you have to reinvest, you're going to be able to transverse it pretty nicely. All of this is going to happen closer to home with people closer to you than you may normally kind of think that you could connect with. So that's the sort of big picture when it comes to your hidden opportunities. They're already there. I'll pull one last card just to sort of say, how can I help you get to that hidden opportunity a little bit better? And Apollo's saying hi right below me. I'll bring him up in a second. All right, so how can we get there? All right, so the 9 of Wands here, don't give up. Don't give up. So for those of you that have been working really hard to get something finished, the big idea is that you are nearly there. 10 of Wands would be completion, but the 9 of Wands is telling me very, very close to where you need to be. You don't want to let someone push you into saying no, push you into doing something that you don't want to do, or somehow get off of that path. It's the road less traveled. So keep on keeping on, all right? All right, let's meditate now. And for the meditation today, we're going to focus on, let's see, I really like the idea of transformation. So we're going to kind of like let you release into the, like, shed your skin. So the beetle kind of sheds its skin and becomes what it needs to be. So we'll work with that metamorphosis. You can work with a moth or a butterfly if you'd like to. And then after this, if I didn't answer your question yet, hold it. And I'm going to pull a single card at the end to answer your silent question. The meditation takes 2 minutes, and then we'll get into your silent question. And there's Apollo. He knows we're going to meditate. He knows that means that he gets to take a walk very soon. So he's already excited. Just a quick note, if you joined late, please consider liking this video and hitting subscribe. And it does help me quite a bit. If you've given back a little bit in the way of contribution, I will recognize that at the end of this reading. Let's go ahead now and get into the meditation. So for this meditation, I want you to imagine that you're in the forest. It's daytime. Actually, the sun is directly overhead. And there are emerald and golden light beams coming through the trees. Imagine that you are kind of like in Portland or Northern California or in a highly wooded sort of space with old trees, ancient trees reaching up there like the redwoods. And see yourself at the bottom of one of those, the base of one of those trees. And imagine that there are butterflies or moths around you. And as you sit there, we've done this sort of meditation before, but allow them to sort of land on your hand, land on your nose, land on your hair, wherever you would like them to, and just observe the delicate nature of them and understand that they took quite a journey to get to that place. And imagine that as one or more of these moths or butterflies lands on you, you can also work with the beetle as well if you'd like to. See them bringing in healing energy and also allowing you to transform. Imagine that there is this subtle cocoon of energy around you, beautiful green, heart-based energy that's surrounding you. And in this moment, I want you to think, I am ready. I'm ready to take that step, to put that foot in the water and to go wherever I need to. And as you step into that energy of I am ready, imagine that you can feel these beautiful wings reaching out behind you, and you can allow your physical body to stay there, and I'd like your energetic body to travel up one of the light beams and get closer to your purpose, your path, and to get the download that you need. Let's bring the epiphany in today so that you can make it all happen. All right, so let's meditate on that, and then we'll pull the final card and see what the last message is for today. Allow yourself for a moment to just glide above the trees, look at the beautiful sun on the horizon, taking a deep breath, seeing the world from a different point of view, seeing yourself from a different point of view, understanding that not only is it possible, but you already, like the Three of Wands, have taken necessary steps to call in this future, this action. With that sense of relief, allow yourself to float back to your body on the wings of a butterfly, or just allowing yourself to feel like a wing or like a little feather in the sky, kind of gently going towards your crown chakra, entering in, bringing the wisdom, just like Athena, into your 7th chakra, allowing all of this to sort of soak in. I can, I will, I am doing what I need to do. I'd like you now to focus on the final card, the final question that you might have for me today. It can be whatever you would like. Let me just pick a deck that I think will work for this reading. Let's see what is calling to me. Okay, we're going to use a Light Seers deck. All right, so I just like you to focus on the question, and let's pull a final card and see what the answer is for you. All right, we have the Knight of Cups. This is a definite yes. This is a great card. The Knight of Cups is reminding you that you're worth it. We see here someone that's ready to kind of like celebrate you. So you have to celebrate you first, yourself. You have to celebrate yourself first. You have to see yourself as the one that you would want in your life. So love yourself, celebrate yourself, and know that with the Knight here, you're also capable of creating or embarking on that path. You don't have to wait. There's no waiting energy with Knights. Knights move. So take the action towards your passion. Share what you think to someone else. This is definitely a love-based card. So if you want to express your love or your energy towards someone, this card is saying to take that first step. The only thing that I would say with this is we're looking at the horse in the I'm looking at the horse in the background here. So it does feel like, again, we're looking at issues of patience and timing. So If it's meant to be and the timing works out, perfect. If the timing doesn't, there'll be something else that aligns fairly quickly for you. So trust in the frequency and the reciprocity of this, because this card is upright, and know that you deserve to kind of receive the energy of this Knight of Cups as well. The flowers, the love, the support, all of that. The little picnic table, everything. This is yours for the taking. So, but you shouldn't accept less than what your heart is bringing forth. Okay. So I like what I see. You didn't get anything today that was really difficult to parse. The only thing, like when I was looking back at the 7-day forecast, was Tuesday, Hanged Man, right? And then today, the Devil. But I think I got us through the sort of limiting energy of the Devil. Next weekend, the 5 of Cups, we'll see if it's still there when I do it. But mostly the energy was good. Remembering, again, as we look at the week ahead for many of you, Thursday and Friday with the the 6 of Wands and the World card, showing a lot of movement for you. Usually I can see the deck in my head, so I'm just trying to kind of call it back into my mind. So I feel really good about everything that I've looked at for you today. Even the blessings and blocks were pretty good. It was like peace and love, right? So the things that can get in the way of that peace of mind is the love and the energy that you express for others. So just try to stay in that elevated energy, and I think things are going to be okay. All right. I hope you enjoyed today. I will be back again tomorrow. Let's see. I'm going to post my schedule for you. So we're going to do Gemini tomorrow. The video is already up on my main page, so you can set a reminder. I'll be putting reminders on social media later today. So if you haven't seen them, don't worry. But hope you enjoy this new format. This is something I haven't done weeklies for a while. I did them back in 2017, but it was a much different format. I like this one better. It's evolving. I like the interaction here. I hope you do too. As long as you guys enjoy it, I'll keep doing them. So thank you for showing up today. Give me a second to grab my glasses, and I'm going to read just a quick thank you to those of you that were kind enough to give back today. I'm trying to see where I put my glasses. I think I have them in the other room, so I'm just going to read it without it. But stick around here real quick, and I'm just going to say thanks to anybody that was kind enough to give. Before I sign off, one more time, please do consider hitting the thumbs up. It helps with discoverability. I think half of you have done it, so thank you. If you've never subscribed, help me get to the next number. We're almost at 300,000. So let's do that, and I'll do a special maybe Q&A video once we hit that milestone. And thank you to everybody that's given back. I'm going to say your names in just a second. If you happen to catch this on replay, there's a new way that you can do it. It's called Super Thanks. It's right by the share icon. And I always heart those because I see them. Thank you to my channel members for being present, for voting, for helping me do more videos. And again, you can catch the recaps on social media. I also have a book, that's the book behind me, called The Luminous Ones. You can get more information on my website. Sci-fi, fantasy, kind of like Dune or Lord of the Rings. All right, let me pull up a new tab here, and I'm just going to take a look at everybody that was able to give back today. Maybe a longer list since we have a lot of folks here, but I'll do my best to get through it, especially since I don't have my glasses at the table. So bear with me if I don't read it 100% here. So 1 second. Supers, and I just want to say thanks. Here we go. Let's take a look at the people that... Oh, wow, we had a bunch today. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll start at the bottom here. I want to say, first of all, I saw we had a few new channel members, so I just want to collectively say welcome to all of you that joined. You'll be able to vote next weekend for some of the topics that you saw here today. And when I do my Q&A, probably for the 300,000 milestone, I take questions from channel members and patrons. Okay, so Cass, thank you so much. I appreciate the $10. Thank you so much, Andrea. I appreciate this. I'm glad that you like the new format as well. I always listen to viewer feedback on that. AB, thank you so much. Kathy, I appreciate the $20. Thank you. Same thing with Diane and Ollie. Thank you. Cherokee, good to see you again. Thank you so much. Toya, I appreciate this. And I like the comment that you put there. I'm glad you enjoyed the book. Let's see. Amitabha, thank you so much. Laura Vickers, I appreciate that. And let's see, Tamilton66, Sarah, Michelle, thank you for the $20. Miss Vicky, Carolyn D, Melissa Ann, I appreciate this. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the readings as well. Sarah, CSH, the Mad Monica 11, Kate, Jeannie, Robin, thank you all so much. Pat September, Angela Christian, Erin Lavelle, Miss Baxter, you guys rock, thank you. Carol, Miss Moses, A. Milan, I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the topic as well. As I've said, you guys are the ones selecting this. So I try to pick things that are intuitively coming through, and you're going to have chances in the future to continue doing that. Tiffany, thank you as much. Thank you as well. Ruby Red, Kathy Hiram, I think it is, and Kevin G. I appreciate all of you. Let me see if anyone else gave before I close up this window. I think that's it. And Valerie as well. So hopefully I hit everybody. If I didn't, I do look at this later, and I do appreciate all of you, okay? Have a wonderful weekend, what's left of it. Have a wonderful week ahead. May these messages help you on that journey. I hope they do, and I hope to see Gemini tomorrow. Reminder that I'm live every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and every Sunday you can always come through. It's a collective or community reading for everybody. All right, Apollo gave up on me taking him for a walk, but I'm going to bring him up here. He was ready a second ago. Want to say hi to everybody? So we'll close with Apollo, who I'm going to take on his much-needed walk now. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I'm going to take this sleepyhead out for his walk. I hope you have a great one. Thank you very much to Dakota and Maria as well, who help with all of the chat. I know it's a little bit more on the weekends, so I appreciate it. All right, everybody, have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves as well. Do something fun, okay? Much love and light.